So in this video, I will introduce what is the meaning of enthalpy. And enthalpy in Chinese, it looks like this one, Chinese character. Okay, for the left hand side, it means the heat, or it means the energy content. Then what means by the right hand side? It means that it contains. So in other words, what's the meaning of enthalpy is actually equal to the chemical energy stored in a system. Say for example, if you have a piece of charcoal which have the major composition of carbon, when you look at it, do you know how much energy is contained? The answer is no. And how much energy it contains, we call it absolute enthalpy. And you will never know the exact quantity of energy inside it. However, how can you know? Is that you will refer to a chemical reaction, maybe you burn some charcoal in the presence of the air, and then it will become CO2. What you can know is that some energy will be released in the process, and you can compare the energy before and after, and we call it the enthalpy change, and we call it the relative enthalpy or enthalpy change. And here we use delta to represent the change, and H is the symbol of enthalpy. It means that after the reaction, the energy level of the system has been changed already, so that we can measure that change in enthalpy. And if you use a diagram to represent this idea, the horizontal axis, we call it reaction coordinate, or as the reaction proceeds, what will happen to the energy level. And then for the y-axis, we use enthalpy here. If I use the example of burning of carbon as an example, originally it will turn from carbon in solid state and then oxygen in gaseous state. And after burning, as you may know, it releases heat, so that in winter you can keep warm by burning some charcoal. And after the reaction, carbon dioxide will be formed. And in this diagram, you can clearly see that after the reaction, the carbon dioxide it has a lower energy level, and originally it has a higher energy level. So that after the reaction, there is a difference in energy content. And where will this energy go? It will of course go into the surrounding in forms of heat, so that in winter you can keep warm by this heat energy involved. And this difference in chemical energy, we call it the enthalpy change. And if you do not know what this means, I can use some physics to help you to understand. If there is a person which is holding a ball, then how much energy is stored at this position? How many potential energy is stored by this ball at this position? Maybe we call it H1. Actually, you will never know because you have no reference point. As long as you set a reference point here on the floor, maybe you set the potential energy is 0. Then after you release the ball from this height H1, and then you release the ball onto the floor, and then you can use mgh, and h means the difference in height, to calculate its potential energy. However, if you only have a ball at this particular position, you cannot tell how much energy, how many potential energy is stored inside. What you can do is just release, and through the process it reaches the ground, and then you can tell the difference in potential energy. And just like in this system, for C and O2 originally, how much energy does it contain, you will never know. And for this carbon dioxide in gaseous state, how much energy it contains, you will never know. And that quantity is called absolute enthalpy. However, what you can know is that through a chemical reaction, through a process, how many energy is transferred to another form. So for example, for this chemical reaction, the enthalpy will be converted into heat energy and then released to the surrounding. And for this person with the ball, after they release the ball in the process, it will convert some potential energy into kinetic energy so that you can do the measurement.